Hi, how's it going? Welcome to lesson 3, gesture and mood. Today I want to talk about the most fundamental thing about character design is it's in the gesture. This is what gives you a description of who that character is, what type of person they are. It really helps to break down the true character per each individual. So what I want to do is I want to talk about Walter Stanchfield. He's the guy who wrote the book Drawn to Life, and he has a lot of great examples in there of gesture, breaking down lines of action, staging, silhouette, and so forth. So what I want to do now is I want to look at these specific drawings and talk to you about a little bit about what it is that I'm talking about and trying to put it into a visual image for you to really see the difference. So what happened here, this is a test of a before and after, and the one on the left, it reads, right? You do get the character, but the one on the right, just look at how much more energy is in that. Look how much more attitude, look how much more simplification and clarity. You really get the sense of the pose on the one on the right, and the one on the left, it works, but it's just not pushed enough. It could be a lot further, right? Okay, so in this one, there's a lean back on one on the left, but the one on the right, just look at that stretch, and that arm is really, it's cheated. Just look how long it is. And in the essence of it, though, in the energy of it, it totally works. It's not wrong at all. I mean, it's subtle, right? You look at both poses and you're kind of like, well, I don't really see the difference. No, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that will show through in the end. So here's another example of one on the left where it's working, but look at the clarity of it. I'm talking about this one here. Just look at the clarity, how it's not reading as well, and the energy doesn't feel right. When you look at this one, though, with this shoulder raised that high, this one raised so low, the head overlapping now, because now here there's no overlap, right? You look at the head here and but then here, immediately, just by doing that, you got the sense of a lean. Now, not only does that give you a sense of a lean, this distance from here to here can get shorter now because now it's foreshortening. The shoulders are coming towards you, so that's going to give you more energy. And it just creates this really sweet quality. Here's another one example of someone resting and kicking back, hanging on from a knee. But then look at this energy here. Look at the push and the quality of that. That's such a great example right here. I love that one. So here's another. This is an example of one that works, but because of the staging, it's not as strong as it could be. So this happens a lot in figure drawing classes, and whether it be gesture drawing or longer poses, a student may get a wrong angle like this, and it's great for to study the figure from all around the angle. But what we're trying to do here is we're trying to create a character. We're trying to create a clear staging. We want to create a simplicity, and we want to tell a story through the lines of action and how we use them and how you can exaggerate stuff. And I want you to see, just look at how, just by turning to this side of the model, going to if this was 3D space, walking around this side of the character, so the model is this, you're looking at from a front view here. Just look at the energy you can really push things in, and the way that all that weight is almost defying gravity. Here's another great example of this student here was drawing this from this angle, but then when you look at it, this pose here, I'm sorry, I just feel that this is, and it's scribbles, all this is scribbles, but everything, all the line of action is there, the simplicity and the staging. I mean, look at how the knees are, look how far apart they are, and right here, it feels a little awkward, right? It doesn't feel like it's really working. Here's another example of just by turning a little bit more to the right on this model. Look at this is actually a really nice drawing, but because of the staging and the silhouette, it just doesn't read. You're not getting out of it what you really can. And here, with just a few simple lines, it's just a whole new concept, right? You're looking at something that has life and energy to it. So when you're going to hear this a lot from me is bringing a soul to your characters, and that's what I'm referring to. I'm referring to when I see your drawings, do I feel like I know that character? Does it feel believable to me? Is it not just a pretty shape, like we talked about before, but is it alive? Is that character going to emote to me as it translates in the film? Here's an example of a character that can be extremely pushed and exactly how far it can go. Here's one that it works, right? This is a funny proportions, the big belly is tapered legs. Look at the lean back now. Now you got this line of action bending even more. This is to the next level. Now this line of action is bending back, but now the knees are bent. So you ask me who looks like they're carrying the heavier box if they were holding an imaginary box, and it's no doubt about it's this one. And just look at how pushed that is, right? The nose is up against the chest. The shoulders are all the way up in the face. It just blows me away every time that how pushed things can get and totally work. And it's because you're drawing a feeling. You're not drawing that model. You're drawing what feels right. And this is what when you do that pose, this is what feels like when you're lifting something heavy. Then here's another example of simplicity and how the lean back and line of action helps a ton. This is a page of just random gesture drawings and just a quick way to show you how loose these drawings can be, because this is really all you need once you start beginning your character. If you have a gesture this figured out, like right here, this is a perfect starting place. This is how loose my first drawings are, like right here, this one and maybe this one too. And this stuff, I never really get like too detail-y at this level. These will all be like first figured character studies, and then which I can later add more detail and make them pretty. But by having this structure underneath, something this solid with the right feeling, it's just going to make the character in the end so much stronger. And that's why I always say, I don't want to see things cleaned up, because if you worry about cleaning something up and it's at this stage, right? How much energy have you lost by putting time into something that's not working quite yet? It works, right? As for a drawing, but as far as a character design for film, like was what we're talking about here, it could be so much stronger. And so wouldn't you rather be loose with it and get that energy right first, and then be able to have that foundation to work from? That's pretty much the whole process is like. It's getting your foundation set and knowing what to look for, knowing what to study. So here's another example of just look at the weight shift. There's a little bit of line of action here from this back torso turning a little bit, but then here, look, I just feel the weight so much more. Like that baby is on this hip now, whereas here, the baby's is kind of just being held. Here, that baby is resting on all. He's shifting. He or she, this character, is shifting weight to compensate for the baby's weight. This head looking to the right is got a nice shoulder arch, right? But by extending this line right here, giving it that lean, bringing the head down closer to the body, that lean is like 10 times stronger now. Same here. See that? See the difference? These are great examples of slight, subtle changes and how subtle this can be. But it also shows you how we should pay attention to certain lines, certain shapes, right? Here's one of a woman carrying a basket, and another one, great drawing, but just doesn't have as much life at all. This one I look at and I'm just, I get it. It totally makes sense to me. I love the simplicity of this when that line just goes right into the head and you feel that neck jetted forward, and look at the clarity of that. This one's, I feel like this guy's actually talking, right? There's like a voice coming from this one, where this one I just feel like is waiting for a picture and just standing there. Here's one where we're looking at the character leaning back a little bit, and then here's how a slight tilt to the head can change that attitude just ever so slightly. I love this one where the structure here is correct, right? Like everything's working, and it's a cool gesture. I mean, if you see without this one next to it, this one's actually not so bad. But just look at by by bringing that shoulder in and then drawing it from here, I'm now all this compression just happened right here, right in the center. You could feel how that arm is really compressing the muscle here, and look at the lean on that shoulder, the weight shifting way out here. There's a lot of energy in that drawing, and I love how the dead weight of the hand is kind of, you could feel that it's just like resting over something.